Hello and welcome to Just for Today, an unofficial podcast of AA. My name is Dan and I'll be your host as we discuss the ways to stay sober for just one day. I think that this program is going to help you to stay in the moment, stay in the day, focus on what you need to focus on, and forget about taking a drink just for today. Hi and welcome back to AA Just for Today. My name is Dan and I am an alcoholic. Well, I wanted to talk about the problem of not working the steps. Just taking out the alcohol and not cleaning out the mind, the heart, the soul, the spirit. Without cleaning it out, just saying, you know what? All I have to do is stop drinking. That's all I have to do. Everything will be fine. Then I can prove to the whole world that I'm not an alcoholic. I'll quit for a week. I'll quit for 30 days. I'll set a date somewhere in the future that I say, you know what, if I make it to that day without a drink, then I'm not an alcoholic. Well, it doesn't work like that. I'm sorry to say, it doesn't work like that. You know why? Because I did it. I did it 100 times. It's like quitting smoking. I quit for 2 weeks, and I went back, Before I had the time that I have now, which is today, more than today, actually. Before I had this time, I had stopped drinking. That's what I did. I stopped drinking, and I had enough, and maybe it was just a practice run. But you know what? My goal was to prove that I wasn't an alcoholic, that I could control it, that I could do it. I could just stop drinking, and everything would be fine. If I could just, people would say, that's what it is. All you have to do is stop drinking, everything will be fine. It's not true. It is not true. It's work. It's almost like a job. It is your task today is to not drink. But that's well and good. All well and good. But you know what? There's other things that go along with it. And those are the steps. Those are the things that you do. The listening, the going to the meetings, the reading, the keeping yourself busy, the calling your sponsor when things get crappy. And they're going to get crappy. But you know what? Just stopping drinking. I understand the phrase, just don't drink. But there's other stuff that goes along with it. There's other things that you need to do to clean it out, to get rid of the reasons why you felt like climbing into the bottle or just flushing your life down the toilet. There's more to it than that, than just the alcohol. Because the alcohol, in my opinion, is only a symptom of the deeper problem, which is the person themselves. And the things that they have allowed to clutter up their lives. The things that they made more important than staying sober, than having a happy life. I just want to be happy. I drink because I want to be happy. Well, when was the last time you were happy when you were drinking? Because if you were happy drinking, everything was great, you wouldn't be listening to me. And if you are, it's because, and you're not an alcoholic, it's because you're a nice person, you're sitting with your friend and listening to this. Or going to a meeting with them to find out. If you love your friend, if you want to find out what they're going through, if you want to really help them, sit next to them in a meeting and listen to what other people have to say. Maybe you'll have a little understanding about what your friend who's trying to get sober goes through. But just taking away the alcohol isn't going to do it. You have to work it. You have to work the steps. You have to work the program that is set before you in AA. You have to do it. Because you will go back. You will, if you do not work the steps, you will remain unhealthy. And you will eventually drink. If you do not work it, if you do not make it your goal, your new lifestyle is sobriety. Okay? That's not, I just drank, I just got rid of the booze, It's not true. You know what I mean? You have to change your life. Someone who overeats has to change their life. They have to stop the cycle, and learn how to stay sober or how to stay at, a reasonable weight. But that's what we are. We're alcoholics. You know what I mean? We turn to alcohol because we want to numb it. Well, numbing it doesn't make it go away. When you have a bad tooth, what do? You go to the dentist. Does he numb it? Or does he work on it and fix it? Well, I hope he works on it and fixes it because eventually the numb goes away, and the more you numb the problem, the more of a problem it becomes because it just festers. So you have to work the steps. You have to say, I'm going to start on step 1. And when I got that down, I'm going to move on to step 2. It's a process that's set forth for you and for me to get sober and get sane. That's what it's all about. The 12 steps are the things that you do to clean out the attic. That's what's going to reload the database. It's going to change the operating system of your brain. The operating system of downright dirty, stinking drinking isn't working anymore. It's not working. It's in conflict with what you are supposed to be doing, which is having a life. Instead of checking out, we're going to have a life. We are going to have a life. So what you need to do is you need to get to meetings all the time, as much as you can if you're new, and even when you're an old gizzard like myself in this program, that you have to get into it. You have to get into it and stay into it. Read books. Go to meetings. Listen to the old timers. Listen to the new people. The new people are just as beneficial as the old timers, because it says that's what my life. Someone comes in and they're shaken and they're confused and they don't know what to expect. Remember that, because if you go out and you're going to come back, that's what it's going to be all over again. You're going to have to ride that train again, because you didn't go in and you didn't clean out the rooms. You didn't go in and look at the situations that your life has been in. And you need to just stop doing the foolish things and start to learn how to do the right things. So way back when, this was probably before my oldest daughter was born. So we're talking 18 years ago, 19 years ago. I've been sober for 16 and a half some odd years, and I went 8 months without a drink, but I had no program at all. So you know what I didn't have? I didn't have that backup system. I didn't have that little thing whispering in my ear. You know what I mean? I didn't have something to do. You know what I mean? Do you understand that the 12 steps also give you something to do while you're getting sober? So you don't think about, it gives you, say, you know what? Well, tonight I'm going to learn about step 4, or I'm going to do a searching and moral inventory. And I'm sure it's not going to take you, all of 2 minutes to do that, but you have to get involved. You have to work the program. So if you're thinking that, that you're just going to, come in and sit and not drink and not work the program, I hate to say it to you folks, chances are, I'm not guaranteeing it, but chances are you'll drink again. Because the first real storm that hit my dry drunk boat there, it capsized me. All it took was one argument with my partner at the time. She pissed me off, so I said, the heck with it. That's what happens, is that the program gives you hope, and without that hope, you will go back. You will return to the booze. I guarantee it. Well, I just said I wasn't going to guarantee it because I don't really know that. But you increase the chances drastically that you're going to go back to the drink. So I got in a fight, and I walked uptown, and I went into a bar, and I ordered a beer and sat there and let it sit there. I was just allowing it to breathe, as they say. Loving, we must allow the bouquet to breathe, And I sat there, and I looked at that beer for 20 minutes. And I finally got to the point where I said, well, I know I'm not supposed to do this, but bleep it. That's what I did. And I drank that beer. And as I still remember, it tastes like crap, but it wasn't the taste I was looking for. It was the numb. I was looking for the numb. Numb was looking for the numb. And you know what? I found it. And then I immediately went next door and I got a 12-pack and I walked home, which was about half a mile. Drank another few beers that night and said, see? ABC, I'm not an alcoholic. Which was a lie. It was a lie. because I didn't have any program, and I felt like a failure. And within 3 weekends, because I only drank on the weekends, I was right back drinking 4 beers that first night and being wasted because my tolerance had gone way down. And within 3 weekends, I was right back to a case of beer, right back to that drinking to oblivion. That's where I was, right back there, because I had no program, I had no hope, I had no way to hold back the tide, because that tide came in and I got washed. It was like a tsunami. I got sucked right back into the tsunami of alcoholism. And I'm telling you, it's something that you have to learn. A diabetic cannot have sugar. An alcoholic cannot have alcohol. Period. End of sentence. Now, the way that you stay away from that next drink is you say, I'm going to learn the program. I'm going to get involved. I'm going to do things. I'm going to get to know people. I'm going to move my island closer to the mainland. Well, you know what? I hope that happens for you. Please don't drink. I know that's very important, but you have to work the program. Please realize that. You have to get involved. You have to absorb it into your life. Get in touch with your higher power. Find out what it is that's eating you inside. And that's what the program will do. Find out why you feel the need to get drunk and to isolate. Sit down, listen, and we'll tell your story. You'll tell your story, and someone will hear their story and your story. And so on and so on and so on. I sat down in that first couple of meetings that I went to back in 1990, and you know what? I had a revelation. I looked around and I said, wow, look at all these people in here that have the same problem I have. I'm not alone. I'm not alone, and neither are you. So I hope that you work the program. I hope you stay sober. And I hope that you kick that stinking alcohol out the door. Okay? Just for today. Give it a day. Give it a day. Wake up tomorrow with a whole new attitude. Work the program. Don't give in. Don't drink. Find out what you're all about. It's a great story, I'm sure. And you know what? I hear people, and your uniqueness, okay, in your own mind will go away, because you'll hear about people who are newly sober, long-time, mid-range sober that are happy as a clam. Okay? Not all the time. Not walking around like, goofy Gus all the time like you're in La La Land. That's not sobriety. Okay? Could be a pink cloud. Everything's going to be great. But eventually life will come flooding back in. And you can stay sober. You can do it a day at a time. A minute at a time, an hour at a time. So please work the program. Please give it a shot, because if you're at this point where you're listening, this could be it. This could be your last chance, your last-ditch effort. Do you have to die to prove to the world that you're in pain? I don't think so. We're all in pain in some way, shape, or form. We've all seen crappy things. We've all had lousy things happen to us. And you know what? It's not an excuse to ruin your life. So get involved. And stay sober, and I hope it's a sober one today. And if it's not, we'll try again tomorrow, won't we? I hope that's the way you feel, because that's the way I feel. Because I didn't know what I was going to do either. But I found out 16 years later that I have a pretty good life. And I always had a pretty good life. And I'm not unique, and life is unfair to everyone. Okay? The rich, the poor, whatever you see on the surface, they have some kind of problem in their life. Okay? We know what ours is. We've identified that alcohol was our problem. So work the program. Don't try to go it alone, because we're not meant to be alone. We're meant to pair off. We're meant to be in groups. We're meant to live in towns together. We're meant to go to meetings together. Okay? So find someone that, you can hang on to for, until you get a hold of it yourself. Work the program. Stay sober today. And I appreciate you listening. And take care of yourself. Okay, that's going to do it for today's program. If you found this show helpful, please visit us online again at aajustfortoday.org, where you'll find continuing resources and updates on how to stay sober for just one day. Please help to support our efforts by sharing this podcast with others. To do so, simply go to aajustfortoday.org and click on Invite a Friend. This podcast was created by Hipfire Productions and may not be reproduced for commercial purposes without written consent from the publishers. Thank you again for joining us on Just for Today. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time.